All right, we're live. Apologies, guys. When we do FPPL emails, we had multiple sets, so I was trying to go through the existing FPPL email, and it wasn't the correct email. So that's on me, my bad, guys. Let's get caught up to speed here, though. We've got Div 4 Midwest. So we've got like some starts here that we can go over. So you see the typical four go off the bat: McDavid, McKinnon, Draisaitl, Kucherov. Then we've got Makar going to Ryland's team at 5, Austin Matthews at 6, Pastas at 7 over Kaprizov, which we haven't seen too much variance in terms of these mid rounds. Like, it's normally the Pasta, Kaprizov, Brady. And then you've got Quinn Hughes going at the 110. We saw that in the Div 2 East draft, followed by Rantanen Werenski at the 112 spot into a Jack Hughes. Two pretty early risky picks for Goon Squad. And then Kyle Connor, Eichel, Nylander, Bouchard. We're seeing a lot of D go off the board here now with Philip Forsberg. Apologies, guys. If you guys are just hopping in right now, I'm a little late because we did multiple FPPL emails to do the D4 drafts, and I completely forgot that it was the other email and not the pre-existing one. So getting caught up to speed here. I guess we can run through teams. We see Dirty Danglers go McDavid, Point, Panarin, Seth Jones as a D1 into Jarvis. So electing to punt a defenseman until round 4 for Dirty Danglers. And then Shadow Dog goes McKinnon, Miller, Hedman into Yossi, followed by Elias Pettersson. That's a pretty good start at the 2 spot there. And then banned by Bettman goes Draisaitl, Marner, Otter into round 3, followed by Celebrini and Lane Hudson. So a little bit more youth towards the 4th and 5th round there. And then Brennan's Foster Grand team goes Cooch, Darlene. That's a pretty, you can't ever complain when you get Darlene at the 2-9 spot. Like, that's really unprecedented for any FPPL draft. And then he follows up with Boldy into Theodore into Caulfield. That's a pretty good start for Brennan's Foster. I'm really liking that start to his team. And then Ryland, again, started with Makar, went Helly into Vasilevsky into Adam Fox. And now it seems like he's going to go heavy into forwards. Seth has Austin Matthews into Phil Forsberg, Mackenzie Weegar, Nietzsche, and Harley. That's a pretty good 1-2-D combo for Seth's team. Bumpy's Big Bad Bruins went Pasta. Obviously, a nod to being a Bruins fan there, but Reinhardt, Gensel, Jake Sanderson, Wyatt Johnson, and then Le Petit Vikings goes Kaprizov, Bouchard, J-Rob Stutzel into Darcy Kemper as his first goalie off the board. NFL... that's Wells, excuse me. Brady, Willie, Josh Morrissey, Kempe, DeBrincat. That's a pretty good start. Murray Poppins goes Quinn Hughes into Jack Eichel into Bratt, Keller, Genther. That's stacking a lot of offense on top of Quinn Hughes there. And then Jonathan goes Rantanen, Connor, Tage, Sider, Sergachev at the turn or on the way back. Gets to power play 1 defenseman there. And then Goon Squad elected to go Werenski with the 112 into Jack Hughes, followed by Crosby, Philip Gustafson, and is now on the clock. So we are all caught up now, guys. Apologies. Let's see how this continues on. Again, this is Division 4 Midwest. D4 Midwest. Let me pull up the logo here for you guys while we get situated. Mark Scheifele finally goes off the board. So Goon Squad now has both of his centermen locked up. We'll see what Goon Squad does at the turn. Elects to go Brandon Hagel. It's never a bad pick. We normally see Hagel go into in this range here. There we go. We've got our logo situation now. Apologies, guys. Was a little bit late off the start here. Just multiple emails, multiple passwords, trying to figure out which is on which. So that's on me. Barkov still getting picked at the 6th spot is interesting. I don't know if that was an auto pick or not by Jonathan, but that guy is out for the season. Unfortunate news out of camp. But yeah, that has to be a misclick, guys. There is no way. Didn't know he was out for so long. Guess I lose. That's an unfortunate misclick there from Jonathan. Happy Friday, guys. Hey, always appreciate you being here, Wicked. Charlie McAvoy. So Wells picks up his second defenseman. If Igor finally goes off of the board, I'm surprised that, you see, I guess Ryland elected to go both goalies, but Banned by Bettman did pick up Otter in the 3rd round, but typically you don't see Philip Gustafson and Darcy Kemper go before Shesterkin. Let's see what Seth does here. Picks up Dougie Hamilton for his 3rd defenseman. Div 3 Central Draft will go crazy, guys. That will be on Monday. We have a big Monday coming up. Big Monday coming up. We've got the D3 Central Draft, which I'll be participating in, as well as we've got the D1 Draft. So that will be a big night. Matthew Tkachuk then goes in round 6 to Ryland's team. Mackenzie Blackwood is picked up for Brennan's first goalie. And then Banned by Bettman will pick up Chikrin here on his way back from round 6. Yeah, Div 3 Central is going to be a blast, guys. I'm excited. I'm excited for my get back after a pretty unlucky year, I'll call it, in D2, where everything that went wrong, or everything that could have gone wrong, went wrong for me. But nonetheless, we are here in Division 4 Midwest. Why is that logo so funny? That's what happens when people export things incorrectly. Matej Michkov goes round 6, followed by Konechny for Dirty Danglers. Weird. Interesting. Kevin Fiala is a great pick there at the round 7 turn. As we see Dirty Danglers continue on the forward trend here, only has one defenseman. As we'll see what Shadow Dogs Unleashed does here. Picks up Lucas Raymond. That's good value in the 7th round. Don't know why. But when I export this logo, There we go. That should be better. Canva's just being weird right now. All right, John Tavares into round 7. So Banned by Bettman takes his second pure centerman. He did take Macklin Celebrini early on, and then Brendan follows up and grabs Robert Thomas, who will be his first C off the board. I don't know, guys. The text is exporting completely different than what it looks like in Canva. So fun. All right. Sebastian Aho, Noah Dobson go off the board as Ryland grabs his third defenseman. We'll see what Noah Dobson's role is like in Montreal this year. I'm a little bit less excited about him this year just with him not being a power play 1 defenseman. Like, I don't think I'm actively trying to draft Dobson this year. I don't think he's a terrible pick. He's just not somebody that I've really gotten excited about. Seth goes and grabs Sebastian Aho as his second pure centerman. And then the big bad Bruins, Bumpy, goes and grabs Matthew Nyes in round 7. Le Petit Vikings has only 1 defenseman, which is Evan Bouchard. We'll see what he elects to do here. Picking 4 in one of my IRL drafts. Is Makar pick good or Cooch? I like Cooch at the 4 spot. Basically gives you 120 points every season. And has really fought off all the injury concerns. Dylan Holloway then goes closely after Matthew Nyes. We see them typically go in the same spot. Does the Barkov news give pause to take Bobrovsky? I don't think it gives pause. Like, it's Florida. If he's out for the year, they're going to add Mira Heiskanen then goes, followed by Morgan Riley. So we see some of these next tier defensemen start to go. See what Jonathan does here as he approaches the turn. Kirill Marchenko, that's a really good pick. We're seeing Marchenko fall. I'm curious if that trend will continue in drafts. All right, Goon Squad is going to go ahead and grab his second defenseman, John Carlson. And then we see Alex Tuck go. Alex Tuck is interesting. Again, I don't think a bad pick, but just not a player that I'm really getting excited about this year, especially with the current state of Buffalo. But he does currently, I think Hagel is his only dual eligible winger. See what John decides to do here. Does have 2 defensemen. Has not taken a goalie. Timo Meier in the 8th round is insanely good value from Jonathan there. That's a great pick. 2 great back-to-back picks from Jonathan, making up for the fact that he took Alexander Barkov after a season-ending surgery, it seems, in the 6th round. Is there a world where you go forward then 2 elite D with your first 3 picks? It would depend on which defensemen are available, Zombie. Like, if you're telling me I could get Quinn Hughes, like 2 of Quinn Hughes, Werenski, Dahlin, Bouchard, then yes. It is a great recovery there from Jonathan. Valerie Nichushkin then goes to Murray. And Wells has been pretty steady on the defenseman. Grabs Dustin Wolf as his first goalie. Should get a ton of volume this year. Jackson Lacombe. It's not bad as your D2, but you basically have to pray that he stays on power play 1 for him to continue to be a D2. Blumpy also only has one defenseman currently, Jake Sanderson, but getting Igor in round 6 seems like pretty insane value. Brandon Montour, all right. And then followed by Jordan Kyrou to Seth. Nico Heischer's a great pick in round 8 there as Ryland picks up his first pure center. Yeah, it does seem like the majority of the Kraken players that are going are actually Montour and Descartes. I've been seeing some Vince Dunn as well, obviously later in the drafts, but I don't think there's anybody like on the forwards that really excites me. Drake Batherson in round 8 is really good value as well. Normally a triple-digit hit guy. And same with Nikolai Ehlers. These are great picks coming out of here towards the end of round 8. It seems like drafts are coming down to where you can find value at defenseman, and then that opens up a ton of value at forward. Because what's happening here is you see Lane Hutz, Chikrin, Hedman, Yossi, like Darlene, Theodore, a lot of these guys towards the front end of the draft are able to now take these forwards that are falling to them because everybody else is going so D heavy. We see Logan Cooley go off the board. That's a great pick. We see Dylan Larkin go off the board for round 8. That's a great pick. UC Saros as your G1 is a great G1. He's going to get a ton of volume. So Dirty Danglers takes his first goalie off of the board. And now it's back to Shadow Dogs. I don't remember if we have a util spot. Let me check, because I'm curious. I don't think so. I want to say we don't. Two center, two left, 4D, a util spot, two goalies, 4 bench, 3 IR plus. How do you guys feel about the util spot? I hate it. I don't like it at all. Ilya Sorokin, Alexander Nikishin, Aiden Hill. We're starting to see goalies go a lot here. Andrei Svechnikov is great in round 9. You've got Binnington as your G1 for Seth. Almost every team has a goalie at this point. We're still working on Murray and Jonathan, who do not have a defenseman. Vincent Trocheck in round 9 is great value. Interested to see what New York does with him, whether he stays on power play 1. Zach Hyman, good value into round 9. He did come off of a wrist surgery, though, so just something to keep in mind. Uri Slavkovsky, Jacob Markstrom is a great G1 there from Murray. It's a great pickup as your G1. Any interesting... I'm just checking some of the preseason scores now, guys. Not seeing anything too significant. Unless you're planning on drafting Gergensons from Tampa, who has 2 goals. But I don't think any of us will be doing that. All right, Luke Hughes, we're starting to see some riskier picks come off the board now. Anthony Stolarz at the 9-12 as your second goaltender. Should get a ton of volume. Vince Dunn, there we go. We see another Kraken player. I'm not a big fan of the usual spot. Personally, it feels like you have to put more strategy into your draft. I think just some flexibility there, Tristan, because of how deep centermen are. But there goes Mika Zibanejad, a great value pick that we're seeing in drafts. Jonathan picks him up at the 10 spot. So ever since the Barkov pick, Jonathan's had a very, very strong draft going Kirill Marchenko, Timo Meier, Luke Hughes, and then Mika Zibanejad. This guy took Kemper round 5 instead of Shesterkin, who was taken round 6. What do I think of that? I would have taken Shesterkin instead of Kemper. But again, you could argue that LA was better than the Rangers last year. Carter Verhaeghe, that's another good value pick there from Murray. Jonathan just wanted to make it fair. You think it was a BM pick? Like a bad-mannered pick? You think he's just like, yeah, I'm going to take Barkov and I'm still going to smoke you guys? That'd be pretty hilarious if he comes back. Then his team's kind of stacked. Neil Pionk over Z Buium's an interesting pick there from Wells, but Le Petit Vikings is going to pick up Z Buium there as his third defenseman. I like the Verhaeghe pick. I like it too, Wicked. It's a good pick in around 10. All right, so Bumpy has Shesterkin and then grabs Pavel Dorofeev. Guys, is Crosby going to Florida? Is that going to happen? Tomas Hertl by Seth. Tom Wilson by Rylan. Raquel, Erik Karlsson go off the board. So most teams at this point have 3 defensemen. Almost all of them. We're still looking at Dirty Danglers to take his second defenseman. Cam Fowler goes. You hate to see that if you're Dirty Danglers. That was probably on his list. Sam Rinzel, okay. Into... I would probably want another D here. Pick 2, Saros, Thompson, Decor, Demko, Markstrom, Skinner, points league. Do you get, like, what are the points for goalies, Cheddar? And then goes Gabriel Landeskog. Interesting at the 11 spot. Okay, I think that's a little early for Gabe in my opinion. You can normally get him in the 15, 16, that kind of range. Kempe or Nietzsche's FPPL settings. I think it's Kempe, just because of the shot volume. And hits are 0.5. And they should roughly have the same power play. I wonder if the Gabe pick was an auto draft by Dirty Danglers. We see Jeremy Swayman go off the board now, followed by Steven Stamkos, quickly picked up there by Band by Bettman. He was very quick on the gun there. .1 saves, -2 goals against, +3 wins, +1 overtime loss, +2 shutouts. I would probably want, it's very much win shutout focused. So I like Markstrom and I like Thompson. Saros is close. I just don't know how much the Preds are going to win. I think Washington will be good again this year. I think the Devils, you could take Saros over Markstrom. But we then see Jeek and Bennett go. Bennett, we know, is shooting up the ranks here. Panthers can exceed the cap by 3.8 if they rule them out for the entire regular season. Yeah, that's true, Tristan. We see Demko go into Shane Gostisbehere for Bumpy, his third defenseman. And then Ivan Demidov goes in round 11. How would you rank Boldy, Gensel, and Miller? I think Miller 1, Gensel 2, Boldy 3. Linus Olmark is another good for your G2. Do you keep Matthew Tkachuk or Nietzsche's? If you're trying to win this year, Avery, you keep Nietzsche's. If you're in a bangers PIMS and you count hits or you count penalty minutes, you keep Matthew Tkachuk. Nietzsche's might not be on the Avs next year, guys. Keep that in mind. Surprised Bob is still available. I think some people are worried about Florida now. Gabe Velarde at the 11-10 spot. We love Gabe in that range. Quinton Byfield is a great upside pick there by Jonathan. I don't know, guys. I'm kind of rooting for Jonathan now to pull off the, I want to almost call it a reverse sweep because he took Barkov. It just means he needs to draft perfect from here on out. I don't know if Nietzsche's is going to get traded necessarily, Scott. I would be surprised if they don't re-sign him. But I think just going into next year, or into this season, excuse me, he's in a really good spot. He's in my elite upside video tomorrow. Like, I could see like an 85-point season out of him. Matt Barzal is a great pick in round 12. That's insane value. I'm surprised he went that late. Brian Russ is another sneaky good pick there by Goon Squad. You got to think that Pittsburgh's going to sell off some assets, but, you know, Russ could be one of those guys. As a sleeper, do you like Tippett or Snuggerud? I'm always a big fan of Owen Tippett, but Jimmy Snuggs is in a really good spot this year playing line 1, power play 1. Then we have Lucas Dostal go off the board for Murray's second goaltender. Nazem Kadri's great value there for Wells. Wells has implemented the generic FPPL the generic FPPL strat where you go Brady into Willie and then you hammer out defensemen and then you punt centers till late. Paterka goes to Le Petit Vikings. Apologies to those guys that are drafting. I'll try to refrain from going into detail about any of the other players. We're going to try and focus up on the draft once picks come through. There he is, finally, Adam Fantilli into round 12. Bumpy, that's a great value pick there. And then Aaron Ekblad goes to Ryland's team. See what Brendan does here. 2 goalies, 3 defensemen, 2 centermen. Rupe Hintz, all right, grabs his 3rd seed. Then we go Bobrovsky, finally off the board. So Brendan ends up with Otter and Bob for his 2 goalies. Can't really complain about that. Tyler Toffoli then goes off the board. Then Darnell Nurse by Dirty Danglers in round 12. Sam Montembeault is the 2nd goaltender off the board. So Dirty Danglers finishes off his goaltending spots with Saros and Montembeault. We're coming back down to Shadow Dogs. 3 defensemen, 2 goalies. Owen Tippett into round 13. Colton Parayko is a quick pick there banned by Bettman. So he now has 4 defensemen: Hudson, Chikrin, Nikishin, and Parayko. Brennan's going to go ahead and grab Geeky, and then Ryland's going to grab Brad Marchand. Cheddar, I've never done an auction draft in my entire life. Looks fun. I feel like it would just take forever. Drew Doughty finally off the board there into round 13. A power play 1 defenseman you always want to try and grab. But we do know that LA has gone to a 5-man power play again after doing it in the playoffs. So Doughty does lose out a bit on some of that power play 1 upside, or at least potentially. Again, unconfirmed in camp. We see Carl Vejmelka go off the board here to Blumpy's team. He has grabbed Igor in round 6 and then Vejmelka in round 13. So his goaltending is now solidified, and he has 3 of his 4D locked up. We go to Le Petit Viking, who's going to grab Stuart Skinner, as we see 3 goalies go off the board here in round 13. Thomas Chabot. All right, so Wells now has 5 defensemen: Morrissey, McAvoy, Heiskanen, Pionk, and Chabot. See Jake Wallman go right after that. And Jonathan now on the clock here after going Kiefer Sherwood in round 12. Kiefer Sherwood in round 12 feels like taking Barkov in the 6th round. That's just what it feels like to me. What do you think in a purely point league with power play all weighted heavily and hits very minimal? What order would you draft? Kaprizov, Jack Hughes, Eichel, and Connor? I would go exactly in that order, Peter. I would go Kaprizov, then Jack Hughes, then Eichel and Connor. Joey Decord. That is Jonathan's first goaltender here. We see Devin Taves go to Goon Squad for his 4th defenseman. And then Jonathan Huberdeau in round 14. Interesting. Back to Jonathan now. Still could be looking at goaltenders here. Still could be looking at defensemen. I'm sure there's great value at forward still. We'll see what Jonathan elects to do. Sean Monahan into round 14. It feels like Jonathan's draft has gone like this. We'll see. We'll see at the end of the year. Alex Lafreniere, followed by Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, as well decides to take a third goalie here. Le Petit Viking goes Marco Rossi as we kind of get lower and lower into our drafts here. Let me scoot down here so you guys can see. Noah Hannafin. Seth on the clock now. Picks up Logan Thompson was available? What? What is happening? Why was Logan Thompson available? What? Arturi Lehkonen then goes round 14 to Rylan. I'm kind of shocked that Thompson dropped that far. There was like 4 or 5 goalies that went before him. Zane Parekh finally goes to Brendan, and that's his 4th defenseman now. Matthew Schaefer finally picked up there by Bettman. Not a terrible upside pick. After going pretty safe for his D3, or his D4, I should say, in Colton Parayko the round before. Dylan Strome then goes, another pure centerman. So Shadow Dogs now has McKinnon, Cooley, and Strome as his 3 centers. Dirty Danglers on the clock here. Cutter Gauthier is a great pick in round 15 after Tony DeAngelo. So something to just keep an eye on, guys. If Matthew Schaefer does make the team, I wouldn't be surprised if he starts on power play 1. Do I draft with Mike on Sunday? Does Mike actually draft on Sunday? One sec. Oh, that's the wrong button. All right. So I'm doing Sunday at 3 p.m. Division 4 South. Don's going to be here at 7 p.m. on Sunday for Division 4 Northeast. And then Division 1 is Monday, September 29th. This Monday. And then Division 3 Central is right after that at 9 p.m. where I will be drafting. We've got Rasmus Anderson at pick 15 here, followed by Mikhail Granlund. I'm going to have to move again, aren't I? Marco Casper. There we go. It's a good pick. Should see a top 6 role in Detroit this year. And then Alex Lafreniere. Thompson keeps getting drafted super late because people think he will be splitting the crease 50-50. I don't know how I feel about that opinion. Would you take Brady with the 4th pick, first round in a bangers league? Yes. Yes, I would. Yeah, Mike and I both draft on the Monday. He's in D1. I am in D3 Central. So I will be here spectating the D1 draft. And then I'm going to hop off. Don's going to come on and then spectate my draft. So it'll be a quick back and forth. Cole Perfetti, that's a great pick there by Seth. Bo Horvat's a great pick there by Bumpy. He's going super late into drafts and is somebody that you can get a ton of value for. I'm going to move up here and cover Goon Squad as we finish up the bottom part here. Just going to hide that real quick while we finally come in. Will Smith, Boone Jenner, Brant Clark, love all 3 of those picks later on. Jenner has a really good per game basis. Will Smith is somebody that I'm really excited for this year and should be around a point per game if he skates with Macklin Celebrini. Was in my breakouts video. I just don't know if he'll play a full 82, but his per game rates were around a point a game in the second half of the season. Let's see what Jonathan does here. Chris Letang as his 4th defenseman. It's not a terrible D4 pick. It's not a terrible pick at all. And then Pyotr Kochetkov goes, followed by Brock Besser at the turn there for Goon Squad. Seemed pretty decisive on what he wanted to do there. When is Sam drafting? I don't know where Sam is this year. What centers would you target for big face-off wins? You want to target like dual eligible guys who can put them into left and right spots. Like you can grab like a Leon Draisaitl, like he's pretty elite. JT Miller. But for like the big like face-off guys, you've got like Crosby, Heischer, Kopi's up there for sure. You can get him late in drafts. I'm trying to think of who else off the top of my head. I almost said Bergeron. Frederick Anderson. So Jonathan goes Decord and Freddie. Murray is now on the clock. Has 3 defensemen. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Trocheck is a big face-off guy. That's a good shout. Trocheck's a great pick there. Heischer, Bo Horvat. Jared McCann. Leon Bichel in round 16. That guy might get 350 hits this year. Not a terrible D4 pick. Should have a pretty good floor. You've got some upside guys. Let's see what Bumpy elects to do here. No, Trocheck got picked round 7, Mitchell. We're talking about face-off guys. Well, everybody finishes out their draft right now. Jake DeBrusk. Dylan Cousins is a great pick in round 16. Wow. Great pick there by Seth. Matt Duchene's another strong pick there. I don't think he'll be around 80 points. Alexi Protask. We'll see what he's like again this year. Joseph Wool then goes off the board to a Bettman's team. William Eklund, another guy that we're trying to target in later rounds. Jonathan Marchessault is great late round value there by the Dirty Danglers. And finally, his last pick. Only has 4D. Could elect to go another defenseman, but instead goes Patrick Kane. Let's see what Shadow Dog's last pick is. Ivan Barbashev. Matthias Michelli goes to Banned by Batman. Truba or Romanov for hits and blocks as a 4th D. I'd probably go Romanov just because he shoots a little bit more as well. If it's like a bangers Pims, then you go Truba just because he gets so many Pims, but they're close. Brendan's last pick here. Josh Norris. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. Again, always an injury concern. Ryling goes Frank Vetrano. See who Seth finishes up with here. Brock Faber. Okay. Yeah, I mean, on the off chance that, say Buiam does get sent down, Faber probably is the power play 1 guy there. Gustav Forsling's a good pick to kind of finish off your draft. Jack Greaves is your 3rd goalie. Ken Johnson is a phenomenal pick by Wells there. Wow, I'm surprised he went that late. Will Cooley is available. What is happening? How are we getting Will Cooley in the 17th round, guys? How are we getting Will Cooley in the 17th round? Mark Stone, and then unfortunately, I don't get to see the last pick by Goon Squad because it will not show up. Goon Squad, if you are in the chat, let me know who you picked last. But let's do some team analysis, guys. How do we feel? How do we feel? I am just as surprised as you are, Mitchell. I'm just as surprised that those guys almost went undrafted. I don't know what happened there. All right, let's go over some teams. Now, actually, let's just kill the lower third. Let's kill the lower third so we can see everybody's team here. Have an eye. All right, so the Dirty Danglers starts off with McDavid, then Braden Point, Artemi Panarin. That's 3 incredibly good forwards to start off with. Cannot complain about that. Elects to go Seth Jones as your D1. Now, looking at the defensemen that are available, I don't know how I feel about Jones being taken over guys like Lane Hudson, Thomas Harley, Sergachev, but, if he's your guy, he's your guy. You follow it up with Jarvis, Konechny, Fiala, Larkin, who are 4 great forward picks. You then go Saros as your G1, and then you're starting to pick up an upside guy in Sam Rinzel as your defenseman 2. Gabe, I think, was interesting in round 11. I don't know if that was an auto pick or not, but that seems to be super high for me. I would even go to say I'm taking like Will Cooley before Gabe, and he just went in round 17. Darnell Nurse, Sam Montembeault, Anthony D'Angelo get you your 4D off the board. Cutter Gauthier, Jonathan Marsh, so Patrick Kane are 3 great late round picks there. So love that way you kind of finished off your draft. Shadow Dogs Unleashed goes Nate McKinnon, JT Miller, Victor Hedman, Roman Josi, Elias Patterson, Michkov, Raymond, Cooley. That's a really good first 7 rounds of your draft. There's not a player in there that I don't like. Josi obviously being a little risky, but could pay dividends. I like the fact that you took a defenseman before him. Then we go Sorokin as your G1. Should see a ton of volume. Cam Fowler as your D3. That's a great pick. Swayman's also going to see a ton of volume. Tyler Toffoli, Owen Tippett, Dylan Strome, Rasmus Anderson, William Eklund, Ivan Barbashev. That's a strong draft out of Shadow Dogs right there. Banned by Bettman, starts Draisaitl, goes Marner, then elects to pick Jake Ottinger over not only Vasilevsky, but he elects to go over Igor as well. Macklin, Celebrini in round 4 towards the end of that round. Then you pick up Lane Hudson as your D1 into Jacob Chikrin. John Tavares is great value there, round 7. Ehlers is a great pick. Nikishin will be interesting this year. Ricard Raquel, Steven Stamkos, Sergei Bobrovsky. Probably the second best goalie combo, but that's great value for Bob. Colton Parayko, Matt Schaefer, Granlund, Woll, Matthias Michelli. Brennan's team is up next. Goes Kucherov at the 4 spot into Dahlin, into Matt Boldy. You cannot complain about those 3 picks, guys. You can't really complain. I think Gensel's probably safer than Matt Boldy, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it. If you think Kaprizov's going off, it's a pretty good chance Boldy's also going off at the same time. Theodore as your D2. They are running. Vegas has been experimenting with a 5-man power play, 5-forward power play, excuse me. So just have an eye on Theodore, guys. Cole Caulfield, Mackenzie Blackwood as your G1. Robert Thomas in the 7th round is great value. You got Drake Batherson there. That's great value. Aiden Hill is a good G2. Eric Carlson is a good D3. Jeek, Hintz, Geeky in the mid rounds. We love that. Zane Parekh, you get some upside potentially. You take a swing on a defenseman. I don't hate it. Marco Casper, Protas, Josh Norris. Those 2 picks at the bottom, we'll see. It could be very hit or miss, but overall, it's still a strong draft by Brendan. Ryland's team is up next. We got Cale McCart, the 5 spot, followed by double goalie in Connor Hellebuck, Andre Vasilevsky, then another defenseman. So your first forward off the board is Alex Ovechkin. The bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see how it plays out for him here. But you've got Ovi, you've got Makachuk, who you got to pray comes back okay, 100%. Noah Dobson feels terrible there. I just think you need another forward, and you've got some really good guys available in that range. You've got Sebastian Aho, you've got Kirill Marchenko. I don't know how I feel about the Dobson pick there, but I digress. It's not my team. We've then got Heischer, will you make up for? Like, that's a great pick. Svatch is a great pick after that. Tom Wilson's a great pick after that. Bennett's a great pick after that. So maybe it did work out that way. Maybe Dobson is your guy. And then you go and hammer 4 great forwards in a row, followed by Aaron Ekblad, Marshawn Lehkonen, Alex Lafreniere is interesting, and Matt Duchene and Frank Vetrano to end out your draft. So it had its moments, but I'm curious as to how the double goalie strat is going to work for you there, Ryland. We'll keep an eye on that team for sure moving forward. Seth at the 6th spot, Austin Matthews, Philip Forsberg, Mackenzie Weegar, Nietzsche's Harley, Dougie is a pretty strong start, especially because you're going 3 forwards, 3 defensemen. So you can elect to really capitalize on some of the forward value in the mid rounds here, which you do by grabbing Sebastian Aho, Jordan Kyrou. You get Bennington as your G1, then you follow him up with Hurdle and Demko as your G2. Bushnevich, Doughty, Logan Thompson as a G3 is crazy. I might even take Thompson over Demko. And that's like a 3-round difference. Cole Perfetti, Dylan Cousins, 2 great late round picks. And then Brock Faber to end things off. Overall, a strong draft there from Seth. Bumpy's team is up next. We have Pasta, Reinhardt, Gensel. That's a really, really strong start. Jake Sanderson is your D1. I don't hate it all. Wyatt Johnson's a great pick. You get insane value with Igor Shesterkin in round 6. Follow it up with Matthew Nyes in round 7, Montour round 8, Trocheck round 9, Dorothy of 10, Ghost round 11. You're still getting a power play 1D. Adam Fantilli round 12, Carl Vamelka, Noah Hannafin, Bo Horvat, Jake DeBrusk, Gustav Forsling. I think Bumpy's team is very strong. Very strong. Seth, you're a Nux fan, so you wanted Demko? Understand it, dude. I respect it even. I would have done the same thing. Yeah, Bumpy's team is very strong. Le Petit Viking gets Kaprizov at the 8 spot. Bouchard, J-Rob, Timmy. That's 4 great picks to start off. Somebody has to get a hold of Goon Squad and Le Petit Viking and ask why they didn't take Igor Shesterkin there. I just want to know. I want to know. Nick Suzuki, Dylan Holloway, Jackson Lacombe are 3 really strong picks in the mid round, especially getting Suzuki in round 6. Zach Hyman's a great pick. Williams a great pick. Demidov's a great pick. Paterka, we'll see, but I think it has a strong case to be a huge sleeper this year. Stuart Skinner as your G2, Marco Rossi, Brant Clark, Leon Bischel, and then Jet Greaves. A strong draft by Le Petit Viking. There's some good teams in this league, guys. You've got Wells up next with Brady, Willie, Josh Morrissey, Kempe, DeBrincat, McAvoy, Heiskanen, Dustin Wolf, Slav, Pionk, Olmark, Kadri, Shabbat, UPL, Boone, Jared McCann, Kent Johnson. Solid team again overall. Very typical FPPL strats. Punting centerman to late. Then you get Murray Poppins starting off with Quinn Hughes at the 10 spot, going into Jack Eichel at the turn. Normally you don't see Eichel at the turn like that. Normally he goes in the 10, 11, or 12 spot, but again, good start. You've got Bratt followed by Keller, Genther, Bedard in round 6. That's a great way to start off your draft after going Quinn Hughes with the first pick. Morgan Riley as your D2 is fine. Nichushkin, Markstrom as your G1 is a great G1, followed by Verhage, Velarde, Dostal, Wallman, Alex Lafreniere, Will Smith, Nuge, Cooley. Love that draft out of Murray to kind of finish things off. Jonathan then goes Mikko Rantanen, Kyle Connor, Tage Thompson, Moritz Seider. Rantanen, I just realized, went at the 111 spot. That's crazy. And then unfortunately takes Barkov at the 6th spot, not knowing that he has a season-ending injury. So tries to redeem himself then by going Marchenko, Timo Meyer, Luke Hughes, Mika Zibanejad, Quinton Byfield, who are great picks. Then elects to go Kiefer Sherwood, unfortunately, over Adam Fantilli. I don't know if I could ever bring myself to do that. Let me scoot on out of the way here, guys. And then we've got Byfield, mixed in there with Joey Decord, Sean Monahan, Letang, Frederick Anderson, Mark Stone. I'm just going to screen cap this while I still can, just so we can go ahead and save that. D4, and it is Midwest. Monahan, Letang, Freddie, Stone. Sure, it's a good way to end out your draft there. And then Goon Squad finishing us off here. We have Werenski, Jack Hughes, Crosby, Gustafson, Scheifele, Hagel, Carlson. That's a really strong first little bit there. Again, I'm taking Igor over Philip Gustafson. John Carlson is your D2. Tuck, Stolars, Dunn, Rust, Barzell. Great value in round 12. Devin Taves, Jonathan Huberdeau, Kocheka, Besser. And then who was the final pick? Did anybody figure it out? But again, another strong team there in the Goon Squad in Division 4. Again, just a reminder of the settings. That's the logo. There we go. No, that's the lower third. But that will do it for this draft, guys. Again, apologies for being a little late. Was just trying to log in and figure out the emails. I will know that now moving forward that we have a separate email account for these D4 teams. But thank you guys so much for chilling. Appreciate all of you. Leave a like on your way out. Again, tomorrow, 3 p.m., I'm right back at it. We're right back in the trenches. Let's actually quickly go over this schedule for streams here. I'm going to pull it up so you guys can see. Interesting. Why is my display capture not working? That's why. All right. Oh, it's now covering me. Okay. There we go. All right. So, like I said, tomorrow, 3 p.m., Division 4 South, we're right back at it. We're in the trenches. We've then got D4 Northeast tomorrow. Excuse me. That's Sunday. Excuse me. So nothing happening tomorrow. However, there will be a absolute banger of a video, guys. There is going to be my Elite Upside Players video coming out tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. That will be a great video. But like I said, lots of options there on Sunday, 3 p.m., 7 p.m. And then Monday is the big night. You've got the D1 draft followed by my draft in Division 3 Central. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for chilling. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed. It really helps us push the content. But right back at it on Sunday, and stay tuned for the video tomorrow. Appreciate all of you as always. Have a fantastic weekend. If I don't see you, I'll see you Sunday.